Welcome everybody to another Tuesday Catalyst session. Today is a special session where we are going to talk about the Catalyst Planner. Oh, I see some of you holding it up. Hello, Harriet. If you got a planner in your hand, wave it around. There it is. Oh yeah. Oh, this is so fun. Oh my gosh. So I said this at the retreat last week, but I'll say it again. I grew up with a mom who lived and died by a planner. I will tell you that I've never met a woman more dialed in my life. She was always married to an entrepreneur, helped run the business, kept a perfect house, has 4 very successful, busy children, ran 3 loads of laundry per day. I mean, she just was like mom on fire. However, I also saw my mom go through 2 divorces. And I also saw her not really work on self-care, running herself ragged and not having friendships. I didn't see a lot of like savoring life and, playfulness. I saw a lot of like focus and get shit done all the time mode. So what did I decide for myself growing up? I decided that being super organized and dialed in was not sexy and doesn't allow you to have a rich, fulfilling marriage. Now, that was just my perception as a little person. And one of my key goals in life is to be madly in love and to travel the world and to feel the zest of it all and to have this big, rich life. And so the way I went about my first 20 years of adulthood while being self-employed, while being married to you, Galen, who's also self-employed, while living in between Reno and Lake Tahoe, a first home and a second home, and having 2 children that generally run more on the anxious scale and could have done so much better had they had a mother that was more dialed in. I wanted to be winging it and charismatic and feeling spontaneous. What that looked like in our life was chaos all the time. That my house wasn't really in order. I literally had a full-time nanny 50 hours a week, a housekeeper 3 times a week. My parents in and out of our house trying to help us keep things together because I was singularly focused on winning in business. I really believed that if I went out, made $1 million, made $2 million, made $5 million, check that box of financial security, that I would be happy, peaceful, wildly in love and everything else. Now, while I did accomplish that goal, because as many of you know, I'm a rhino and rhinos go out in the jungle and they put their horn down and they focus and they do it and I'm competitive. I also lived with a lot of guilt, shame. I ran my immune system down to the ground to the point that my body just eventually shut my ass down. I got vertigo. And I almost burned myself out of the business entirely. Fortunately, I absolutely love what I do, but even more fortunately, I'm married to a man that encourages me constantly to be my best self. And while he's been whipped around and whiplash for the last 15 years of our marriage, he's been along for the ride. So enter a planner a year and a half ago. Okay. I didn't use a planner because I am rebellious and I can use an online calendar and, I can use my greatness tracker because I'm being coached and I can just write down my tracking activities. But I desperately wanted to have balance. I desperately wanted to be present in my relationships and on fire with my kids and being more tuned in. I desperately wanted to have physical health and feel radiant and have stamina and be out of pain. And I really didn't see that a planner could help me kind of do that. Like, how do I be on fire in all areas of my life? But Gail and I moved home from Spain at the end of 2023. We took an all-day training together about goal setting. And we both got a planner. And we said, hey, let's just try this. And it's been remarkable to see what's happened since. I've since started a business here at Catalyst. I've since launched, live events twice a year. I've since doubled my business in terms of the size that are with me. I completed 75 hard this year. I'm more tuned into my kids and available at their stuff than I've ever been before. I'm still a giant mess. There's still many days I put 1,000 things on my to-do list. I jerk my team around with, my insecurities, but I can tell you that I'm much more less of a mess because I have a planner, which is why I'm bringing this to you today. This planner is not just for loan officers. This planner is built for people who want to be on fire and who want to integrate all of their goals and want a daily plan. They want a friend, they want a tool on how to recalibrate and get back in line. So I asked my husband to be on the call so he could share his perspective, because him and I have completely different personalities. As many of you know, Galen, I think you're here, Galen. He's on a spa weekend, by the way. Are you wearing your robe? Oh, thank God you're wearing your robe. You're a character.
I'm just in my robe, living life. What's up, everyone? How you doing? Hi, babe.
Hi, babe.
Hi.
I saw you dancing. We were dancing together, even though you're in SoCal and I'm up here.
Yeah.
So just tell us a little bit about before and after Galen with using a planner. Did you have resistance to it? And what's been the change for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I wasn't before really rocking a planner and using it was I wasn't a very good partner in anything I was doing. I wasn't a viable partner in a lot of ways because I was just living spontaneously and a little bit like I'm a rebel as well. And I didn't want to have to, show up and do this thing every day. And it sounded like a pain. And so what I was doing was really like relying on my willpower and my ability to remember, which I'm not that great at. My brain is not that good at either of those things, especially later in the day, the willpower. So now that I'm doing this and been doing this for about a year and a half, I'm relying on a system versus relying on willpower. And that system is something I can trust. And if I execute against the system, I'm going to get results. And what I've noticed is like, there's a lot more me apologizing for missing an appointment, whether it's the dentist or this customer or this thing. I have to say sorry a lot less. Instead, I'm proactive. Hey, I can't make it a couple days earlier, right? And to some people that may sound simple, but that has been really important as far as just my schedule, my day. The other thing is writing down these goals and being able to refocus and recalibrate to my goal is, I can't even remember what a goal is often, like what a weekly goal is until I look at it. I go, oh yeah, that's what I put on Sunday. Why am I focusing on this? Or why am I doing Instagram? Or why am I on this when I have to go hit this goal? So it refocuses me like crazy. And it's just amazing. It's been so helpful for me. I can't even tell you guys how the little bit of discipline into this planner, once Shay got me on it, has absolutely revolutionized my ability to be a great partner, to be able to get the shit done that I want to get done, and to feel proud of myself and to be able to kind of measure and see my results. It's probably the best thing I've done in the last 2 years as far as a little hack or tweak, has been consistently using this planner.
Cool. And I just have to brag on you too. Galen took back over his business, Big Truck. So he had to like get rid of all the employees. He had to move out of his office space. He had to unload 12 years and 2 storage facilities. He had to align with new vendors. He had to build new pricing. He had to like basically start over and remanufacture his entire business of 12 years over the last 90 days. In addition, you started doing an option strategy and day trading back in February. And every morning, you guys, I eat my organic eggs with my beans. Galen's got all of us eating our vitamins. He's got the kids' lunches dialed in and packed. He knows the time that I go in and work out. He protects the morning ritual for me. I protect the morning ritual for him or the evening ritual that he needs. And all this is covered in the planner. But it was like him and I sitting down going, what would be the ideal ritual? What days would you like to use the personal trainer, which we zoom into our house? How do we partner on both of us crushing our goals? And there's not like this sense of resentment now of like, oh, I got to do this or that, because we sit together on Sunday, we draw the calendar out for each other. And like, literally, it's like, you go here, I go there. Oh, we're going to need help here or there. We're reaching out to mom, mother-in-law. We've got a college kid helping us now a little bit. I think it's just easier for people to deal with us, to support us. And we are like, our shame and guilt is down dramatically. And so, I'm just so proud of you and what you've done in your business side of your world. But I think our partnership's elevated dramatically. And I think our kids feel it. Our kids just feel like they've got their groove on, they got more swagger. And like, I know for you and I, that's like the most important thing, because that's where like that was the direct reflection of how much of a mess we were, was like in our kids and their lack of confidence, their lack of well-being. It was always the mirror that Galen and I looked in like, shit, we are screwing this thing up.
Yeah, I think, it's how do you have a relationship? How can you be successful in a relationship if you don't at least get together and talk about the week? Like, I got this, you got this, and then of course I've got my Google, calendar that on the fly I'm uploading it, but to sit there with Shayla and to write it down, first of all, it just like my memory, it helps me memorize what my week's like, just to write it all down in hand, and then to understand what she's got and how can we manage staff or support if we don't know what we're doing, and it's now that we get to have that time together, I rely on it, and it's a touch point for us to be able to be successful, and it's really a way for us to come together. And it's what is your calendar? This is your life. What is my calendar? This is my life. We're married, we live together, and I want you to be successful. You want me to be successful. So we need to see each other's playbooks, right? And then integrate, like I got to integrate. If she has something she can't miss, and I have something, but I can miss it, I want to reschedule it because I want to empower her. And then, and
vice versa.
Yeah.
You're getting a request to coach all the non-Catalyst husbands. So that could be your third business you have.
That's a good point though, is like, because I was resistant to this too. So you might be listening going, okay, great. I'm rocking a calendar. I'm doing my planner, but the people around me aren't, and so the question is, how did you get me to do it? Well, I was in a point of pain. I just felt bad. I felt like I wasn't doing a good job. And Shayla would very gently, she told me about using this many times when I would resist. And then finally I just heard you.
Listen, I wasn't doing it either. I think we both launched into it together. The other thing I'll tell you guys is that Galen and I attended a workshop together, and we heard a same message together. And by the way, I am going to host the same workshop in December called a 3-day challenge, your best year ever challenge. So it was like, we heard the same message. We had the tool together, and we both kind of leaned in and we fumbled around. This is what you guys will see, and you've already been seeing it if you've been having the planner, is you may start out only using like 20% of this thing, and like that's it. But just being committed and using 20% and baby stepping into the things that you find cool or that you can layer on is fantastic. But I can tell you that we've been slowly layering this on. And I just want to dive right in. For some of you that are not part of Catalyst and you're joining this just to see, I'm going to stay on for the remaining 15 minutes, and I'll show you our Catalyst portal. I'll show you our call calendar schedule that's coming up for the next 4 months. So you can understand how you can be a part of a community that lives by this, that is super driven and saying, I want to become less of a mess, hold me accountable. I want to share my wins. I want to share my struggles. So I'll show you a little bit about Catalyst and how we roll. For all of you seasoned Catalyst members, you guys can jump off at the end here, but let's dive in. I'm going to go ahead and show you the PDF version here. Some of you have asked, by the way, for a digital version. I'm already working on V2, which will be coming out for January. We will see if we can get a digital version together so that you can use it on your Remarkable or whatever. It's an idea. It's not on the roadmap, so I'm not making any promises yet. All right. So when you open up the planner, obviously the first couple pages are going to tell you about Catalyst and everything else. These first several pages are your goal pages. Okay. Now the planner is a 90-day plan. Okay. It's $75. So it costs you $25 a month. That's the way you got to look at it, to have this friend be with you. Okay. At the end of 3 months, it's probably going to look like hell. It's got coffee spilled on it. It's banged up. That's what it should look like. It's like the flag that Todd Bookspan talked about at the event. It's got holes in it. It's been beat up because it comes along with you in your life. Every 90 days, you're going to refill out the goal pages because first of all, I want you to decide, what does it look like when you are on fire? Not just in one area, not just I'm super momming it and I'm so there for my kids and I'm at every single class party and I'm into that. But then the other areas are not so hot. Or, I'm super spiritual. I'm into my church. I'm meditating 2 hours a day. I'm a Zen monkey, but then my bank account is negative crazy and my body is completely, untarnished or unfettered. I don't know what you would say, but neglected. So this says this first, before I want you to go into planning, is for you to really connect with what gets me on fire. When I'm on fire, what does it look like? I walked you through this in the retreat, but I just want to read one of mine just so you see it. For fitness, I wrote, I feel on fire in my fitness when I'm well rested after 8 hours of sleep, and I feel clear-headed with radiant energy. My body is pain-free, strong, and flexible. My key to optimal health and energy are to be sleep by 10 p.m., rise by 5:42 a.m., 1 gallon of water, at least 3 weight workouts, the Bean Protocol diet with home-cooked organic meals, no alcohol, rested, energized, sexy, vibrant, and sporty. Now, guess what? Every 90 days, I might tweak this a little bit because I'm getting more clear on what does it mean to be on fire? Because I've defined it, you guys, I can feel when I'm not on fire and I need to recalibrate. And that's what this does. There are many days that I literally will write nothing in this planner because I've just in such a tornado or chaos. And there's other days where it's like, I can't fit a single thing on these pages because I've written everything on every page. So that's what you're going to want to do here is close your eyes and think about what it is to be on fire. Your annual goals then is to say, if there's 4 domains that we teach in Catalyst, which is your fitness, your impact, your relationships, and your enlightenment. By the way, there's little descriptors on page 1. You then can think of what are 8 annual goals, not goals you're going to accomplish tomorrow, but over the next 12 months. And this doesn't have to perfectly start on January 1 or October 1st for Q4, but what are 2 goals you could have around your fitness? Maybe it's how much you weigh. Maybe it's how many hours you sleep. Maybe it's, being able to accomplish a pull-up or a push-up or a hike. What are 2 goals around your impact you want to make? How much money do you want to make? How much money do you want to save? How many hours do you want to work? What do you want to clean up in your impact part of your life, your career, your process? 2 of them might be around your relationships. Girls' nights, guys' weekends, maybe it's spa time, family dinners, doing things with your in-laws or your grandparents or extended family. And then the final 2 is your enlightenment. What are you doing around your emotional well-being, your mindset, your groundedness, your anxiety? What are maybe 2 goals there? Hey, if you want to have 8 goals that are all work-related or 8 fitness goals, that's fine. But the point of this planner is for you to be able to be kind of killing it in all domains. You can just decide which goals you're going to attack right away. The next 2 pages are really about saying, okay, if life is about connection and people, who are the key people in my life? You got your inner circle, then the next ring, then the next ring, then the next ring. Who are these people? And the goal of writing them down again every 90 days is for us to refocus. Who are your VIPs? Who are those friends that you want to invest time with and make sure to be connected with? And do you know their birthdays? New relationships. This one I love because how exciting is life that we get to keep running into new people, new parents of our kids, friends, and new acquaintances that are other business people or just people that we meet on vacation. I mean, this is just so exciting, but it makes us continue to think about these new people and how we might want to stay in contact. This to me is the most important. And Galen and I started on this probably 5 years ago, which was figuring out a rhythm for our life. Galen and I don't like to say no to things. So it's like 1 minute we want to go to Surf Ranch. The next minute we want to go to Fiji. The next second we're saying yes to a charity event. The next second we're, hosting people at our place. What we learned pretty early on was that if we didn't get a rhythm for our lives and our travel down, things really blew up and got painful, So how many weekends in a row can you be gone, or do you need to be home in order to keep the rhythm of your life going? So on this page, you got to put all 3 months of the current quarter. So if you start in November, put November, December, January, and you could start to see where important birthdays are, event outings. Maybe there's even marketing campaigns or business events you put on there. So you could see how everything balances together. You can also be thinking about all these people that you care about. And are you making time for the people in your life? Because listen, our priorities show up based on looking at our calendar and what we put on our calendar. So you get to fill out the date and the dates of the months, and then you get to put some notes over here to the side. And it just gives you this visual on how crazy is your life, or how dialed in is your rhythm. Okay, the next sheet is called the Standards Weekly Scorecard. So on Sunday, when you do your preparation, there's a checkbox that says, how did I do on my scorecard? Okay. Now this is meant to be like, what are your daily standards for yourself? So that keep you with high vitality, that keep you connected to family, that keep you fit and healthy, that keep you on track. I've been playing with this. This is new for me. This was not part of early planners that I've had. And so I'm kind of just giving myself a 50% right now, but it's kind of fun to play with. I think having 12 standards is way too many, but this could be used for business, where if you wanted to track like your leads week over week over week over week over week, it's one place where you could see the whole scorecard. If you wanted to track your number of closings or deals or locks or, break breads, you can put business stuff on here. Mine, my measurable is exercise, hydration, sleep. Galen, you'll like that I have hot sex weekly as a standard. It's one of my annual goals, so I might as well measure it every single week.
HSW.
It just says HSW. So you guys
let's keep it PG.
Yeah, it's PG. HSW. I was showing my mom this morning, by the way, you guys. I'm like, Mom, have you seen my planner? Do you know I have a planner now? And she was so cute. So I was, of course, pulling this out. I was like, here's my standards. I didn't go and illuminate the HSW. Mom, if you're on here now, I love you. So social posts I put on here, coaching, talk tos. For most of us in our business, if we just did 5 quality conversations per day, 2 meetings per day, it would get there. So that's the standards. I'm going to finish the goal pages and then open up for questions. Okay. The daily rhythm. This is super cool. I put this on here so I could see my family and where they're going. And it seems like every 3 months, everything shifts because they have new sports, they have new activities. We've got tutoring, we've got all kinds of stuff to fit in here. So it's really like who, what, where. And I just put Gwen on column 1. So it's all of Gwen's stuff Monday through Sunday. And then column 2, I put Gemma. And then column 3, I put Galen and Shayla. So we could kind of keep track of Galen's got physical therapy on these 2 days. He's got, acupuncture on this day. This is when I go to an early builder meeting, blah, blah, blah. The morning routine, I think every successful, supercharged, sustained, successful person talks about having a morning ritual. And so this is really like, why do I do what I do? How do I wake up in the morning and not have to have decision fatigue? How can I already set myself up for success the night before? I've got my 40-ounce water bottle, which is why I bought you guys this at the Sleigh with Shay. This is my favorite water bottle of all times. It's 40 ounces. It can lock up top. It's got a straw. I have it sitting there ready to be filled up or already filled up for the morning. That's the first thing I do. I jump out of bed. I do psyllium, which is another soluble fiber in water. I fill my 40 ounces. I chug water, and then I sit down with my planner and I do a hot 15. So I'm going to show you that in a minute. Then I exercise, and then I put cold plunge or sauna. So if I have time, I'll go do a cycle of a sauna for 15 minutes and cold plunge for 3 minutes. But I actually put it down to the time. So I wake up at 5:22 a.m. I am drinking psyllium and water at 5:28 a.m. I do a hot 15 at 5:30. Now, do I literally come look at this page every day? No, because this has been part of my rhythm of life, but I didn't used to do this. Ask Galen, like literally I would fall dead and have to sleep 9 hours a day. I could not live with an alarm. Never had a morning routine. I could never keep a workout schedule going. But as I got my life more in balance and I was able to kind of do all of these things, I've been super consistent now. I just asked my trainer this morning, who trains me on Zoom from Spain. I said, hey, how many workouts have I missed in the last year? And she goes, oh, I know. I keep track of every single one of them. So she went through and she said in a whole year, which is 3 times a week, 52 weeks a year. So 3 times 52, 156 sessions, I've missed 5. And she goes, you only missed them because you were on an airplane or our time zones didn't work out. So having a morning ritual is it's just so part of like setting yourself up to be on fire. And so let's define it. Okay. All right. The next 2 pages are your business plan. We did this at the retreat. I shrunk it down to 1 page for the retreat. I give you 2 pages inside of the planner. And then the next 2 pages are about projects. If you take on a rock, okay, if you know the EOS model or traction, it's about saying, what is the 1, 2, 3, or 4 projects you're going to take on? For most of us that are salespeople, we're not going to use this. But if you're an executive and you're coming up with a new, quarterly project, like you're launching a big event, you're launching a podcast, you're launching a website, you're setting up a new vendor, you would put up here, what does the project look like when done? So you know what that project looks like and when it's done, what it looks like. Then you would work backwards and say, okay, it's going to be done by X date at week 13. And so if by week 13, the website needs to go live, what needs to happen at week 12 so that I'm on track for it to go live on week 13? And in order for it to be on track at week 12, what has to happen in week 11? What has to happen week 10? What has to, so you kind of break it down into bite-sized pieces, and you can literally stay on track with monstrous projects through this tracker. Okay. Again, I have not been using mine. I suck at projects. I am a performer. I need to show up, make calls, see people. That's all I do. All right. So I'll stop here because the next 15 minutes are like how you're going to live your life every day. I wanted to see if anybody has any questions. If you do, just come off mute and then I'll take your question that way. And then Laura, if you see anything on here, yes, to go order the planner, it's thecatalystplanner.com. I will let you guys know as a warning, we had 60 of them in stock as of like yesterday. When I checked in with Todd Bookspan, his Win by Noon team is helping me do all the facilities and fulfillment of this. James Carmody, what's up, buddy?
Hey. Yeah, sounds super exciting. And my hesitation, I'm like, it's another new thing. And I'm sure it'll be mind blowing, but I'm just like, do I want to jump in with it? I've already got my printed calendar. I've got my list. I've got my tracker. Now I'm adding this. And maybe I'm not thinking of it the right way. And then the other side of that is like, you and Galen are so like in sync, vibing is awesome. I'm like, you guys each have your own. I'm like, would I get my wife one of these and then kind of build it out together as we come into the end of the year?
Yeah, if she's excited about it, like Galen and I got excited about it because we'd moved home. We felt like it was a whole new chapter of our life. We had lived in Spain for 3 years. And when we came back, we're like, let's be super intentional. Let's not go back to the habits and behaviors that got us completely spun out, overworked. The family felt like it was imploding. Like, let's start something fresh and new. And I think going into the new year, a lot of people like fresh and new and a new plan. But James, if what you're doing is not broken, I wouldn't change it. For me, for years, when I was that one track mind, make $1 million, I was using the greatness tracker. And the greatness tracker is a 1-page sheet that the core training gave me. And I filled out every week how many calls, how many talk tos, how many break breads. But that never had me thinking about the balance of my life. So what I learned was that tracking and measuring results gave me major gains, but I was only tracking and measuring results in one area of my life. I wasn't thinking about, I wasn't thinking about hot sex weekly, and I wasn't thinking about my hydration or my sleep or morning ritual or my kids' schedule or being aligned with my husband. Galen just had to put up with me and just deal. And that was kind of my attitude, which is super egotistical and probably created a lot of resentment. So if what you're doing is working, don't change it.
Very recreated in that statement. My wife would probably be like, ditto. She'd be fist bumping you through the screen right now.
Can I comment really quick, just because this is something that I fought, and James, you're already killing it in business. I mean, you're my hero. I love it.
Thank you.
But I will say that the thing I love about this, and I fought it, and I've said it a couple times on the call, I fought it, and I don't use it the way it's probably designed, but what it does is it gives me in the morning, it gives me a moment to go, these are my top 3. And I always have like a top 6. And then, but I haven't been taking the time to do it, right? I have my top 6. And then it gives me that 3 gratitude things. And then it just helps me kind of just visualize my day. And it gives me permission to include my family. So my kid was throwing up the last couple of days. So I was able to like look at my day and go, what can I move around? And so I can be here for her. And, it just gives you permission. It gives me permission, and nothing else. I have been that kind of person who like is up at 5, and at 10 o'clock at night, I look up and I'm like, oh my God, I'm supposed to feed people. I'm supposed to do and I didn't. I was like so focused on work, and I said, my husband would be like, are you coming? And I'm like, I need you to take care of it. I can't. And so it gives me permission to at least start leaking some balance back into my life.
Yeah, Wendy, thank you for that. I think this makes sense, because like right now, Carrie and I just send each other calendar invites all day, and like the kids stuff, everything lives in a calendar, which is great. But that doesn't mean, okay, are we still focusing on speech for the 4-year-old? Do we have Cub Scouts in existence over here? Are there like family bigger rocks anywhere? No. So yeah, I like it. Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And we will make this recording available for everybody, so you can sit down with your spouse and say, hey, what do you think about this? Like, here it is. The other thing is the best year ever 3-day challenge, which is going to be really about locking in your vision. Like, what is your vision for yourself and your family? It's really good to do that before you go into the new year. Like, am I going to get distracted in other people's visions for my life and what I should be focused on and what society thinks is cool? Or like, no, what is this year really about for me? What would make me truly proud at the end of the year to say, I went double down on my 4-year-old speech. I went double down on my 10-year-old in tutoring and getting her that breakthrough. So she finally feels like, oh, I can take dominion and responsibility for reading these words, and I'm on it. Like, that to me is being on fire. But if we don't stop to address our vision for what matters to us, we don't have our confidence in place. So day 2 is about building that unshakable confidence, because we do have our vision in place and we do have a strategy to execute, and we can exercise some grace and patience and utilizing resources around us, because we've pulled ourselves out of the weeds a little bit to actually look at it. And then the third is really about community and accountability, which is an invitation for people to join our community and to come into Catalyst and see that, like, we talk about this shit. And, here we are wanting one call to chase 5 whales and crush 10 million in volume. On the next call, we're talking about taking care of our 10-year-old in tutoring. So that will be an invitation that you can bring your spouse or your teammates to as well, because I'll tell you, I ended up buying my team all planners a year ago, because it was like, if I come in with a top 3 and I'm asking my assistant, hey, what's your top 3? And she's like, what? But if we have the same language and they have the same focus, and also they're integrating their life and what makes them on fire, now it's a team on fire. It's not just me. So that's kind of my attitude on it. Any last questions before I go into the daily or weekly? Cool. Okay. So, this is the best thing. And what Galen and I talked about is this weekly download and preparation. And pretty much wherever I am, even if we're on vacation, we try to do it on Sunday. Okay. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes it is Sunday fun day and you are skiing powder. You are out of town with people. You are living on high. Okay, fine. Figure it out and do it on Monday morning. Sometimes there's been very few weeks, but Gail and I are on Tuesday morning going, like the week is already moving really fast. We have to sit down and do this. Doesn't mean we do it all together, but he does his process, I do mine, and we make sure we're in alignment. That's how we roll. You decide how you roll. But listen, all of you in Catalyst know I send out a weekly pulse check. The pulse check basically says, how have I shown up? What has been my vibe? Am I locked into my vision? What are my habits? What were my top 3 goals? Did I actually smash those and knock them out, or did I not? And it gives you this week over week over week over week view of ourselves. Like, why do we keep running into the same problem? Why are we stubbing our toe? And without that self-awareness, we will keep repeating the same year over and over again. So that's what that is. The scorecard was on page 8 if you want to use that as a tool so you can kind of measure. But the most important things to me are, what were my top 3 goals for the week? If I know this is my annual goal, and then I go, what am I trying to attack for the quarter? Maybe out of those 8 annual goals, I'm really going to focus on 1 fitness goal and 1 relationship goal. Well, every week I should have a top 3 goal that is moving me in the direction of the larger vision. And if I actually give myself time to think about it and go, no, what really, really, really matters this week? Okay. My top 3 last week, you guys, one was like, just create a safe, high energy environment at Slay with Shay. That was the goal. And then it takes the pressure off because I'm like, yeah, that's what this week is about for me. And then recommit my team to doing the work. That was my goal. Like, I wanted my team to get inspired and recommit to doing the work. So your top 3 don't have to be make 5 calls, see 3 people, get 10 thank you cards done. That might be just part of what you measure daily. This might be a little bit higher up than that, right? Then I go through every day of my calendar. I look at everything on my digital calendar, James, and I go, what worked? And I go through every meeting I had and I relive the meetings and I think about the conversations and I think about the high moments. This actually makes me always look back and go, damn, like there was a lot of good things that happened. And then what didn't work? When was I too anxious, too stressed, unprepared? Whatever, like what didn't work? Why not look at it? And then how can I feel my best this week? One thing I want all my Catalyst members to be committed to is feeling good. This is not a coaching program that's going to say, did you make your 5 calls? Did you see your 10 people? It's a program that's going to say, are you stepping up? Are you taking control and finding a way to feel good? What's in your control? What's a micro action you can take that's under your control that'll recalibrate you back in line to the big goals that you want? I don't care. They're yours, right? So this oftentimes I'm like, okay, I need to go to bed by 9:30 this week. I need to get my 75 hard work. I started 75 hard again. It just helps me stay completely focused. I do my self-connection rituals. I do a gratitude journal in the morning and I do a gratitude journal at night, the 5-minute journal. Other weeks I write different things like, no sugar this week, or breathe. Here's what I put here. Go slow. How can Shayla feel her best? Go slow, breathe, smile. I said, breathe slow, smile slow, hug slow, meditate, and trust my team. That was actually headed into the retreat because I knew I was like, right? So, and then you create a top 3 for the week. What I highly recommend you do is get a paperclip. Billy ordered a bunch of these blue paper clips for me, and paperclip your weekend thing. Why? So when you're on Wednesday or you're on Thursday, you can always flip back to what were my top 3 of the week again? Like Galen said, like, oh, I set that 3 goals on Sunday, but it's now Thursday and I've forgotten what the heck I'm even supposed to do. Okay. All right. And then this week's calendar, this is where Galen and I sit high level and we just draw out. Gemma's in tutoring on Monday. We put our 94-year-old grandmother to sleep 2 nights a week. So are you doing OMA or I'm doing OMA? Gwen has choir Tuesday and Thursday mornings at 8:45 in the morning. Gemma has volleyball. Gemma gets out of school early on Wednesday. You guys get the point, right? It's like one week you got orthodontist, then you got cavity fillings, then you got all this shit. Okay. And then like we hosted Thanksgiving on Saturday, and I'm not one that like sits and obsesses about the meal and all this kind of crap, but literally 7 days ahead, I sent out to everybody, here's what we're going to do for potluck. For me to be 6 days in advance to tell everybody what to bring is amazing. They would normally get about 10 minutes notice, like, oh, by the way, can you bring this and that? So this is how it helps me on the weekly. All right, finally, we get to the daily. So a hot 15. And by the way, when I'm sitting down on Sunday, I actually will go through each page of the week and I will date it up top. Like I fill out Monday's date is 11/18. And I will go to Tuesday and fill out Tuesday's date, 11/19. And I will already put all the appointments I've got on here. Now, Galen functions different than I do. He doesn't use this. But like literally yesterday, you guys, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I had 14 meetings on Monday. Like, how do I show up not being resentful and a mess? I have to get focused, centered. I come over here on the notes section and go, okay, I've got my Monday sales call. What's the one thing that I want to say that's motivating to my team? I have my one-on-one with Renee, my executive assistant. What are the 2 or 3 things I need her help with? I've got my one-on-one with Billy. What are the 2 or 3 things that I want to address with Billy? I've got my lift call. I'm leading a national call for all managers the minute I hang up with you guys today. I had a planning call yesterday. What do I want the theme to be? So when I'm doing my hot 15 on Monday, I'm looking at all the stuff that's on my calendar. I'm then deciding on the top 3, because if you're like me, I will give myself a to-do list way too long. And then my top 3 will be another like 3 giant things that I expect myself to take on top of like a full calendar. Like top 3 might just be, yesterday was breathe, was my number 1 out of the top 3, breathe. I had 14 freaking meetings after being on a retreat week. I just needed to breathe. Number 2 was have clear meeting objectives. Number 3 was adjust my calendar. So you guys all know I committed taking a lunch break in 2025. I started yesterday. So I have to reorient my calendar. So from 12 to 1, I don't have any pre-scheduled meetings and I can go out for a walk and take a lunch break. So those were my top 3 yesterday. Gratitudes is, Wendy was saying, is there. Now, calls to make and meetings to book. So many of us don't have a problem with picking up the phone, but we don't have a list ahead of the day of who am I going to call? Like what's going to make the biggest impact? Like Galen is an activator. So he can work like an hour in his business and call 3 really powerful people and make it happen. But if he hasn't thought ahead of time, who are those 3 people I call? Then we squander and we get lost in our social media and we get lost in our text and we get lost in like our CRM or something like that. So my preparation is always like, who are the key people I need to call? What meetings do I want to book? And then that's what drives me. Down here is like, how many quality conversations did I actually have? And I hold myself accountable to saying, was that quality? Did we really connect? Did I ask for the sale? Did I book a meeting? Was it at least 2 minutes in length? What live meetings did I have on Zoom or whatever? And this is how you can start keeping track and tallying up like, hey, if I want to have 5 per day, I put big ass numbers around them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like I'm celebrating and counting myself on, did I hit my number? How am I doing? Follow-ups needed. This is a huge one for me. If I had this great meeting with somebody and I was like, oh, I got to send them this book or this podcast or this proposal, or I got to set a second meeting, or I got to make an introduction, that's where I need to put the follow-ups. So that tomorrow, when I come do my hot 15, I can look at Monday and say, what happened yesterday? What do I need to carry forward to Tuesday? And then I feel confident. I count on myself. I trust myself that I'm going to follow up with people. On the second page, this is where you can run a to-do list. You can also focus on what needs to get done by noon. If you can have a top 3 and you can have a race with yourself to crush it by noon, win by noon, how much better do we feel? If we leave our calls and our important tasks to 4 p.m. when our brain is mush, we're often to just punt them to the next day. So how can we activate? Because we've done that weekend preparation and now we have a hot 15, literally won't even take you 15 minutes in the morning once you take time on this. But then you come into Tuesday and boom, this follow-up has to be done. These are the calls I want to make. This is where my calendar looks. It's pretty simple. And then you get to the end of the week again. And you have the opportunity, of course, to track your leads. What are your new opportunities? So obviously, I highly recommend you're all using Salesforce and you're putting your leads in your CRM and you're using technology the way technology is intended for. But you use your planner to say, on the quick, I can see what I did. I can celebrate my success. And I can say, hey, I want those 4 boxes filled every day. Or at minimum, I want 1 filled every day. And you can keep it fun. That is the planner, y'all. It's not sexy. It is doing the work, the basic work. But I promise you, you will find more self-confidence. You'll find more trust in yourself. You'll find that you are a better partner, like Galen said at the beginning. And you'll probably get more competitive on getting the right things done. Because a lot of us can feel busy and be very active, but are we being productive? Are we being just efficient, or are we being effective, doing the right things and making them effective? And this will give you a shitload of self-awareness into how you show up and how you behave. And so the invitation to join us in Catalyst is very simple. We've got this beautiful portal here, and I want you all quickly a couple of resources. When you join, we're going to do a new member orientation with you and show you everything. But under links and resources, you will see that we have our calendar. And so here's what's going on in November. We had our Catalyst call today. Next Tuesday, I'm going to do group laser coaching. So I'm going to ask a question largely tied to your goals or your planner. And I'm going to have you type in the chat. I'm going to ask for people to want to get coaching on it. And I'm going to bring in community involvement here. And the goal being, how do you take one micro action? What are you going to commit to? Because coaching is about action and accountability. And it's not the massive action. It's the micro action. It's the small choices that we make over and over and over again that create transformational change and results in our life. So we get into December. On the first call of the month, we really focus on getting dialed in. We work on this recalibration. We look at the month before and we say, how did we do in these 4 domains of our life? And I've got a survey for you to fill out so you can pause and go, let me see how I did. You'll find a lot of gains. You'll find a lot of areas you're kicking butt, and you'll find areas where you're like, ooh, I want to tighten this or this app. Listen, I don't care how much of a mess you feel like you are, how much you're not doing well or not succeeding. You're safe here. We are all trying to be less of a mess, and we are trying to live lives that are authentic to us and do shit that matters to us. Because when you do, you start feeling on fire. You start feeling proud of yourself. Then we're going to do that best year ever challenge in December, the 10th, 11th, and 12th. I'm sure Laura put a little link in there so you guys can register, spread the word. It is free. It's going to be 90 minutes a day. It's that kind of thing that like launches you like, okay, I'm determined. I'm going to get into the new year. I'm going to use this thing. I'm going to build my self-confidence. I know what my vision is. That's that. Then on the 17th, I put a placeholder here to walk through the planner, because a lot of people will probably buy a second planner and they'll want to start a fresh, clean slate on January 1st. And I just happen to know that. So I've left that there. And then we start the new year. And this is the way the months will go every month. We do dialed in on the first call. Okay. The second call, I'll have a guest speaker or lesson. In January, we have Ben Newman, who is infamous. He's worked with the Alabama team and Nick Saban. He's on the sidelines for Kansas State. He's an insane public speaker and author and coach to the biggest executives and athletes in the world. He will get you fired up to be disciplined. And he's going to come do a talk for us in January. Then we do laser coaching as a group, which is very community-based. And then on the last week of the month, we do breakout groups in Zoom so you can build deeper relationships inside of Catalyst. See, what I believe in is if you are super ambitious and super driven, sometimes it feels pretty lonely. And so you will not feel lonely in Catalyst. You will not feel like a weirdo in Catalyst for having these massive goals and wanting to go out and absolutely conquer the world in what area you care about. So we have a breakout group. You will have the opportunity to get an accountability partner for the month. You have the access to direct messages accountability partner. You have the option to do whatever you want, but over time, you will build a lot of new friends all over the nation that are all attracted to the same energy. And that's what we're going to do every month. So in February, we're dialing in. We're going to start reading the book, Who Not How, and go deep on it. So there'll be a Shayla lesson on that. We're going to do the group laser coaching, and then we will do the collaboration. So some of you will ask, like, is this the same kind of coaching that I've done before? I've done Tom Ferry, I've done Buffini, I've done the core coaching, I've done Go coaching, I've done, I don't know, mortgage marketing, something. No, this is Shayla helping you be on fire. I'm not going to ask, did you make 5 calls? Did you see 5 people? Did you have 25 break breaths? Okay. Some people are like, why are you only charging $297 a month? Like, what's the catch? The catch is that I don't want this to preclude only people who are doing $35 million in business and are singularly focused on getting to $50 million in business and are just loan officers. It'd be way easier to repeat the coaching that I've already done and just do the same thing that everybody's been doing. But I got bored and tired of that. It also burned me out. And the way I choose to live and what I want to live is this on fire, zest, multifaceted, rich life. And I want to be around other people who care about doing that too. And whether you're a loan officer that's been in the business for a week, or you're a physical therapist, or you're a doctor, or you're an insurance agent, I don't care. I just want to be around driven, ambitious people. And at $300 a month, I think people can really spend the money doing it. In fact, one of our newest members, Dat, said, I was paying $295 to work out at Lifetime Fitness. I just canceled that, and I am reappropriating that money in Catalyst. But a lot of coaches do this. They say, listen, you join my program. It's all about obedience. You have to do exactly what I say. I'm going to shame and push the shit out of you. And I'm going to charge you $72,000 for a 2-year commitment, but I promise to double your tax return. I'm going to promise you that you will absolutely thrive. You're going to feel better. You're going to feel on fire, but you got to take this at your own pace. You don't have to be here every Tuesday for the live session. When you are in the portal, all of the recordings are there. So some of you are going to just started now and you're like, oh my God, I got to catch up and do everything. No, you don't. It's like going to a podcast with 800 episodes. You don't go back 800 episodes. You find the stuff that appeals to you. But inside of the portal, you've got all the recordings and lesson recordings. You also have the community feed, and there's just rad stuff that happens in the community feed where you can be, asking questions of the group and connecting. You can also personally DM people, and you can actually start finding people in your neck of the woods by going and searching other change makers here at Catalyst. We have done sprints. I'll probably do another sprint this spring where you pick, one of the domains, and we have a challenge or a sprint for 30 days. And then we have all these links and resources that we're building, even down to the workouts I do with Minna, and all kinds of other links that we talk about in the various things and the worksheets. So that's just a high level on what is Catalyst. If you're somebody that wants to be held accountable to living your life more systematized, to being more multidimensional, to being the highest, most authentic version of yourself, this is the place for you. And guess what? It's month to month. So if you don't like it, you can cancel. But what I tell you is, guys, I need at least 4 months with you. because it's going to take you a month or so to just get used to the portal and get these on your calendar and start like going through your onboarding. It's going to take you that. But if you give me 4 months, so what is that? $1,200. I can assure you, you're going to adopt some new habits, a new energy, a new outlook, a new vibe. You're going to upgrade your vision. And I think that that's how we make real change in our life. Some of you will be here 2, 3, 4 years from now because your goals just keep expanding. You realize that freedom is infinite, and that once you acquire one level of freedom, you now taste the next, and you feel like this is your community to continue forever evolving and expanding. So thank you for being on today's call. Why don't we just you could come off mute and send the love around. I got to do this other big call. Otherwise I'd just like die to hear all of you. Thank you for being on. Send the love around, come off mute if you like. We'll send you all the recording. Thank you so much.